welcome to today's class. There is nothing extra required for today's flow, so whenever you have your space practicing, go ahead and meet me in child's pose at the back of your mat. And when coming into your shape, into your space, go ahead and tuck the toes to start. Bring your hands out in front of you and just slowly shift your weight back and towards the hips. Bring the hips to heels. Bring your knees wide, pointing towards the long edges of the mat. And just letting your hips come towards the heels, stretching out through the soles of the feet just for a moment. And then shift your weight into your hands. Untuck the toes, bring the tops of the feet down to the earth, big toes to touch, and then slowly shift the weight back once more. Allowing the tailbone to scoop under. Maybe shift side to side, allowing the hips to settle towards the heels. Trying to make that connection a reality. And then slowly walk the hands out a little bit further. Maybe slowly bring the forearms down to the mat. Continuing to sway side to side, allowing the belly to fall a little bit closer towards the mat between the thighs. Maybe slowly start to walk those fingertips out a little bit further. Allow the belly to fall a little bit heavier. Slowly introducing a little bit more space, one breath at a time. Just ease your way onto our mat. Feeling the low back, the muscles along the spine start to lengthen. Feeling the chest start to open. Finding mobility within the mid to upper back. Coming into your breath, breathing into the back body. Feeling the back of the rib cage lift up towards the sky with every inhale. And the belly fall heavier between the thighs with every exhale. With each passing breath, maybe bring a little bit more energy into the throat. Finding your ujjayi breathing. As we slowly start to introduce a little bit more movement within the next breath or so. Slowly start to walk the hands over towards the right, stacking the left hand on top of the right, and then settling those hips back down. Stretch out through the left rib cage, opening up each individual space between the ribs. Keeping the forehead down between the upper arm, the collarbones, parallel to the earth. Slowly walk everything over towards the left. Now the right hand rests on top of the left. Allow the chest to fall back down and nice and heavy. Right hip, right sit bone reaching towards that right heel, staying anchored. And then letting the chest settle back down towards the floor. Walk the hands back towards center. Exhale, allow the chest to fall. Reach those fingertips up nice and close towards the top of the mat. Forehead rests onto the floor. And starting to build some energy, some space, some movement within the spine on the next inhale. Go ahead and grip down through the palms of the hands. Start to round the upper back, the mid back, the lower back through a cat pose, letting the feet come away from one another. And then as the shoulders come over the wrists, allow the hips to fall heavy, finding a high cobra. Lifting up through the low belly, stretching out through the front body. Pressing through the heel of the hands to keep the torso lifted, hips stay heavy. And then the exhale, reach the tailbone, the sit bones back in space, maybe find a brief cow pose before eventually coming back into child's pose. Finishing that exhale. Few rounds here. Inhale, pull the body forward, nice and slow. Create space within the back body. Allow the feet to come away from one another. Once the shoulders are over wrists, the hips fall. Coming into high cobra. Stay elevated, lifted. Exhale, slip the hips back. Big toes come back together to touch. Maybe coming through cow pose. Resting in child's pose. 2 more rounds, inhale. Nice and slow, creating more space with each round. Gaze lifts as you finish that inhale at the top. Lifting through the low belly. Exhale. Sit back, hips to heels. Inhale, come forward towards the top of the mat. And then exhale. Sit the hips back. One breath here in child's pose. And then go ahead and drop the forearms. You're gonna bring the body forward. Actually, bring your body forward. Come onto your belly. However it is easiest for you to get there. And then with a gentle lift of the chest, go ahead and bring the forearms underneath you. Elbows underneath the shoulders and coming into a Sphinx pose. Pressing down through the forearms. Driving the shoulder blades down the back body to help push and shine the heart forward. Collarbones are nice and broad. Starting to build a little bit of energy within the back line of the body. Tops of the feet are on the mat. You're reaching those big toes back in space. Hip points are heavy on towards the earth. And then exhale, lower down all the way. Chest comes down. Fingertips come 10 to 2. Oscillating Cobra, 3 rounds. Inhale. Feel that chest and heart off the floor, off the mat, nice and slow. Exhale, lower. Try and find a little bit of fluidity here in your movements. Inhale. Feel the body up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Keeping the left fingertips onto the earth, right arm in a capital T. Bend that left knee, heel towards your bottom, and then reach and stab those left toes towards the right fingertips. Right ear comes down onto the mat, gaze over towards the left. Feel that twist within the spine, the opening within the shoulder. Come on back towards center. Bring that left hip point back down towards the earth, switch sides. Right fingertips, left arm capital T. Bend the right knee, heel towards your bottom, and then stab those right toes up and over towards the left fingertips. Left ear comes down, gazing over towards the right. Bring that right hip point back down towards the earth. Fingertips come back onto the earth, 10 and 2. One more round, Oscillating Cobra, inhale. Peel the chest and heart up. Shine that heart forward towards the top of the mat. Gaze lifts at the very end. And then exhale, lower down. Hands come up underneath shoulders. Push yourself up into tabletop position. And once you come into tabletop, begin to shift your weight forward and back right away. Working into the hands, the wrists, and then find some fluidity within the spine. We won't take any structured cat-cows in today's class, so just feel free to take the next few breaths to find some freedom, find some movement. So keeping your toes tucked so you can work into the soles of the feet. When you're in this space, just shift your weight forward and back, working through the shoulders, finding some movement within the shoulder blades, allowing them to come together, spread apart from one another, almost like you're churning the shoulders within their socket. Keeping your breath, finding those cat-cows as you shift forward and back. Maybe sitting the hips down in towards the heels a little bit if you want an extra stretch within the sole of the foot. And then go ahead and find your tabletop position. Nice and steady. Spine is supported by the engagement of the low belly button in towards the spine. Pressing through the heels of the hands, all integrated all the way through the shoulder and the shoulder blade. And then go ahead and reach that right leg up and back behind you. Left arm comes up in front. Finding that stability, that strength. Go ahead and plant the left hand down. Kickstand the left leg out and open towards the left side of the mat. And then start to open the hips over towards the right. Keeping that right leg lifted, right arm up towards the sky. Kick the right heel towards the bottom. So you're bending that right knee. And then go ahead and reach that right arm towards the right ankle. Feel that connection happen. And then go ahead and kick the right hand in, the right foot in towards the right hand, opening the front of the body, opening that right shoulder. Staying strong through the heel of the left hand to keep yourself supported. Grounding down through the left shin, top of the left foot. Feel this opening. Then the side body, the front of the right hip, into the right shoulder. And then go ahead and release your hold. Try not to let that shape snap open. Right arm comes back towards the sky, straighten out that right leg. Drop the right foot down. Reach the right arm up and overhead. Find almost like a fallen gate pose. Reaching the right fingertips towards the top of the mat. Really puffing up through the right rib cage. Anchoring through the outer blade of the right foot. Creating space and breathing into it. Keeping those hip points pressing forward. On the inhale, reach the right arm overhead. Pressing the hip points forward, really opening through the front of the body here. Exhale, come back to your starting point. Go ahead and close everything off. Hip points shine down towards the floor. Kickstand the left foot back. Right knee meets the left. Find your supported position once more. And then from here, go ahead and keep that strength, that stability. Lift the left leg up and back behind you. Right arm reaches forward. Find that strength. Belly button in towards the spine. Feel the back line of that left leg engage. Reaching that right bicep up towards the ear. Grounding down through the heel of the left hand. Strong through the right shin, top of the right foot. And then drop the right hand. Kickstand that right leg out and open. And then slowly start to shine the hip points over towards the left. Keeping that left leg lifted. Right arm up and overhead. Engage through the outer edge of that left hip and the left glute to keep that lift. And then kick the left heel in towards the bottom. Feel that activation. And then go ahead and grab hold of the left ankle with the left hand. And then kick into the hand. Open up. Staying strong and grounded. Then go ahead and release. Try not to allow it to snap open. Your left hand comes back towards the sky. Left leg extends. And then drop the left foot down. Reach the left hand up and overhead as you find this fallen gate pose. Puffing up the left rib cage towards the sky. Grounding down through the outer blade of the left foot. Reaching those left fingertips up and overhead. Trying to maximize the length within this big arching shape here. On the inhale, press the hip points forward. Reach the left arm up and overhead back behind you to create a little bit more space. Exhale, come back to your starting point. And then go ahead and close everything off. Left hand comes down. Kickstand the right foot back. Left knee meets the right. And then go ahead, tuck the toes. Press through the feet, the hands come up into downward facing dog. And feel free to pedal one leg at a time. Shift your weight, bump your hips left to right. Explore your body, explore your space, explore what's available and accessible to you here in this moment, whenever part of the day you choose to take this class. It can be first thing in the morning, it can be a wind down from your day. So just take this opportunity to give yourself what you need here in this moment. And within the next breath or so, settle into your shape. Inhale up high onto the toes. Exhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Use this as a little spring to ripple. Lift the hips up towards the sky and ripple the spine all the way up. Trying to create space and movement. Finding your way to high plank and pause. Feel that integration, that strength. And then go ahead, keeping the shoulders over wrists. Go ahead and allow the hips to fall heavy, transitioning into an upward facing dog. Staying strong and supported within the low belly. You can keep the toes tucked for our first round here. Gentle squeeze of the glutes, lift to the low belly. Exhale, press through the toes, lift up into a high plank, pause. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to do that for 2 more rounds. Inhale, heels lift. Exhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Use this as a spring, ripple the energy up towards the top of the mat, finding your high plank pose at your own pace, in your own time. Pause. Integrate. Exhale. Allow the hips to settle. Keep your toes tucked or untucked. Wherever feels most comfortable, make the adjustments that you need. Opening through the front of the body. And then exhale. Lift the hips up. Engage the core. Find that high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more round. Inhale, heels lift. Exhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Ripple all the way towards the top of the mat. High plank. Pause. Hips drop. Keep that belly lifted. Upward facing dog. Exhale, zip everything up and in. Press into that high plank. Pause. Exhale, downward facing dog. And just a few rounds of flow here. Inhale, right leg lifts. Really stretching out through the back line of that left leg as you reach the right toes up and back behind you, keeping the hips square. Exhale, soft bend in the left knee. Drive the right knee towards that right elbow. Right foot outside, right hand. Shift forward and back, wiggle into that low lunge. allowing the hips to fall heavy. There can be a soft bend in that back knee. Rocking forward and back, coming onto the big toe, driving back into that left heel. And then go ahead and drop the back knee straight down. So you're in a long, nice, elongated shape. Then exhale, send the hips back. Half splits pose. Give you a gentle, small bend in that right knee as you work into the space of the back line of that right leg. Come back forward. Press to the back toes, lift the back knee. And then you're going to come towards the back of the mat, spinning onto that back heel so that left foot is parallel to the small, short edges of the mat. You're going to lift the right toes coming onto that right heel. And then you're just going to keep those fingertips inside that right foot, and you're going to send the hips back towards the back edge of the mat as you bend the left knee. So it's like you're coming into a skandasana lunge at the back of the mat, but you're keeping those fingertips planted, kind of working into both the inner lining of the right leg, into the left hip, but into the left side body as well, as we keep the fingertips anchored, finding that side body stretch. Adding in just another element into the space, and feel free to shift your weight forward and back into this space, bending deeper into that left knee. Come back to the top of the mat, right foot plant, spin onto the left toes. Plant the left hand where your left foot may be if you were to come into a solid squat at the top of your mat. So you plant that left hand, reach that right arm forward, tuck that right rib cage inside that right thigh, and then go ahead and spin onto the outer blades of both feet, come into high horizon lunge. Keep the reach of the right arm up and overhead as you tuck the left hip underneath the right. Strong through the outer blades of both feet to keep the hips nice and lifted. Exhale, right hand comes down inside the left and inside the right foot. Right foot meets the left high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Second side, inhale, left leg lifts. Feel that lengthening within the back line of that right leg as the heel drops heavy towards the mat. And then soft bend in the right knee. Drive the left knee, left elbow. Make that connection. And then bring the left foot outside the left hand. Once that left foot plants, feel free to shift the weight right away, forward and back. Work your way into the hips. If you want to explore more depth into the hips, but you have a hard time kind of working your way into the space, if you want some blocks underneath your hands, you're always welcome to grab that for a little bit more support. Staying active within the core so you're nice and supported. Light within the spine. And go ahead and drop the back knee straight down. Again, keeping that nice long shape. And then send the hips back. Half splits pose, left toes lift up towards the sky. Keeping a nice bend in the left knee as we work into that space. Not forcing any particular aesthetic or depth here in this moment, knowing that we're going to go through this for another round. Those hips square, reaching the chest forward. Plant the left foot. Lift the back knee. Find that low lunge for a pause. And then drop the back heel, like you're coming into warrior two legs. And then you're going to start to bend into the right knee. Send the hips back. Left toes lift, so you're coming onto that left heel. And the fingertips are going to stay planted inside that left foot. So again, coming into that skandasana lunge, like you're coming to a side lunge at the back of the mat. But you're keeping those fingertips planted, so you add in that nice side body opening within the right side. Again, feel free to find stillness, or if you like bending into and out of that right knee, Every time you bend into it, maybe a gentle drive out towards the back edge of that mat to find a little bit more opening. These weight shifts are an opportunity to explore your body, learn a little bit more of how you feel, what you're capable of, where your body can use a little bit more attention. So take advantage of these moments. Come back towards the top of the mat. Left foot plant, spin onto the back toes. Plant that right hand toward the top right corner. So you have a nice open base of support. And then you're gonna spin onto the outer blades of both feet as you tuck the right hip underneath the left. Left arm is reaching up and overhead. If you wanna get a little bit more length, more depth, go ahead before you make that twist happen. Tuck that left rib cage down inside that left thigh. Reach the left fingertips forward and then spin open towards the left side. Same lift within that right arm, reaching within the left hand. Left fingertips, tucking that right hip underneath the left. And then strong within the outer blades of the feet to keep us all lifted. Go ahead and come on back into that low lunge. Pause. Left foot meets the right. Downward facing dog. One more round each side. You know where we're moving toward. Inhale, right leg lifts. Feel your space. Exhale, soft bend in the left knee. Right foot outside right hand. Once that right foot plants, find that weight shift forward and back. Fluid movement. Drop the back knee straight down. Feel that length, that sensation within the front of the left hip before sending the hips back in space. Half splits pose, right toes lift. Maybe finding a little bit more depth. A little bit more length in the back side of that right leg. Come back, right foot plants. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Drop the back heel. And then go ahead and send the hips back in space, bend into that left knee. Keep driving that left knee out and open as you lift the front toes, coming out to that right heel. Fingertips stay inside that right foot. As we come into that Skandasana, adding in that side body stretch. Work into our space, into our space. Come back forward, plant that right foot. Spin onto the back toes. Left hand comes to the top left corner. Right arm reaches forward, tuck that right rib cage in. Find your length, and then spin onto the outer blades of both feet. Keep that reach of the right fingertips up and overhead. Left hip underneath right. Come on back. Find that low lunge, pause. Hands plant, right foot meets the left, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left side, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, bring the left foot outside the left hand, top of the mat. Once it plants, weight shift forward and back. Work into your shape, work into your space. And then next breath, go ahead and drive that right heel back behind you. Really feel the space within the front of the right hip, opening up. Drop the back knee. Send the hips back, half splits. Left toes lift. Come back forward. Low lunge. Lift the back knee. Drop the back heel. Keep those fingertips planted inside the left foot. And then bend that right knee. Lift left toes. Bending into and out of that right knee. Come back forward, left foot plants. Spin onto the back toes. Right hand, top right corner. Left arm reaches forward, tuck that left rib cage down and in. Feel that length. And then spin onto the outer blades of both feet as you find high horizon lunge. Lift of the hips. Really scoop that right hip underneath the left. Spin onto the toes. Come back into that low lunge. Left foot meets the right. Downward facing dog. Go ahead and drop the knees. Big toes to touch, bring those knees a little bit wider. Child's pose. Enjoying a little bit of fireworks in the background of today's class. Hopefully it's not terribly distracting. If it does capture your attention, just come back to your breath. Bring that energy, that focus back within all four corners of your mat. And just allow your breaths to settle. Maybe shimmy side to side, allowing your belly to slowly fall between the thighs. Forehead to rest heavy. Maybe you start on your forearms as we did in the beginning of class, slowly walking fingertips towards the top, really finding that stretch underneath the armpits. Breathing into any tightness, any restrictions you may feel within your rib cage. And then you can remain here if you like. Or if you want to find a deeper hip opening, you can go ahead and transition into frog pose. So if you'd like to bring a blanket underneath your knees, you're more than welcome to go ahead and grab that now. Just for a little bit of cushioning underneath the knees if you'd like a little bit more support. Or if you need a little bit more ease moving into this shape. And so when coming into the shape, you can come onto the long edge of your mat if you'd like. And then just wiggling the knees a little bit further away from one another, allowing the hips to fall heavy. Bringing the ankles even with the knees. So that your knees are at a 90-degree angle. If this feels too intense, again, you can always take tadpole. So just almost like a very, very wide child's pose. So the big toes are coming towards one another. The knees are staying super wide. And you're just allowing the hips to settle closer towards the earth with each breath. So take whatever variation suits you today. So either child's pose, tadpole, or frog. If you find that you would like some props to support yourself in any way, at this point in your journey, you can always pause the video, go ahead and grab what you need and come back into this space. Or if props aren't available to you in this moment, just allow yourself to move into those modifications that you may need to make this final pose accessible. And you can reap the benefits that you need in this final shape. And feel free to find those weight shifts again here until you settle into that sweet spot, that feel good zone, if you will. That gives you the opportunity to not only feel a desired sensation, but somewhere where you can maintain, also find a degree of comfort, degree of ease alongside the effort. Find 5 more breaths here. Maybe as time passes, you find that you're able to settle into a space with a little bit more comfort, with a little less distraction. You find that your body, your mind is a little bit more accepting to the space that you're in. Your body's able to find a nice little home. And coming out of this pose, come out up onto your forearms, press down through the forearms, maybe tuck the toes, press the toes to help guide your knees in towards one another. And slowly wake your way up into a comfortable seat. Either leg can be crossed in front. Go ahead and rest the palms on the knees. Find a nice tall spine. Lift it all the way from your base of support, from your sit bones, all the way through the crown of your head. Maybe a gentle softening of your gaze, maybe even bringing the eyes to a close. And just take this opportunity to find a moment of gratitude for showing up today onto your mat, to participate in this practice, to flow, to create energy, space to maybe move energy, move stuck energy in today's class. As always, thank you so much for practicing with me, and I look forward to seeing y'all next time. Have an awesome rest of your day.